Welcome to Pop Up Jobs Life. I am your host, Diara Springer, and today with me is Mr. Charles Lewis, who is the founder of the Pop Up Jobs platform and Pop Up Jobs Life. We thought it would be a good idea to have Mr. Lewis as the guest for the first show, and over the next couple of minutes, we'll be getting to know him a little bit more and this interesting site that he has cultivated. Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis.
Good afternoon, Diara. I want to thank you very much for bringing me onto the show.
No problem. Thank
I'm
you for
looking
taking the
forward.
time to be a guest on the show.
It's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to present what we're offering here. We're going to be having a very engaging, a very exciting conversation. This is an amazing concept, but I'm not going to preempt any questions you may have for me. So I'll turn it over to you now.
No problem. Before we really get into the show, however, to all the viewers, if you have any questions to Mr. Lewis, you can post the details in the chat room located to the right of the screen, or you can even join us in the studio to speak directly to Mr. Lewis. And this can be done with the use of your mobile phone, laptop, or any other device that you may have. Okay, let's get into it. So, tell us a little about yourself. Who is Charles Lewis?
Okay, how much time do we have? Uh, I'm from Barbados, obviously. Well, that's not so obvious. I am from Barbados. I tend not to have a very strong Bajan accent unless I get very excited or very angry. Then you'll hear the rank Bajan accent coming out. But I spent some time in the United States where I got into business, and I was there for 3.5 years. I was more in the entertainment arena. I own clubs, I own bars, I manage clubs and bars as well. Then I moved to Germany for 4.5 years. I continue my tenure as a business owner in Germany for that period of time. And then I moved on to Switzerland for a while. But one of the interesting things about my experiences is that over the years, I've had one reoccurring problem when it comes to staffing. And this is this is when I got the idea to launch a platform for recruitment and employment. It wasn't the name pop-up jobs wasn't in my mind at that time, but I used to have situations where a bartender, for example, would call me at 6 p.m. and say, "I'm not coming to work tonight," and this is he's supposed to be there, or she, at 8, but I know at 6 I don't have a bartender and I have to replace that person. So I found it very challenging dealing with that, and that would happen very often. Also, a person would just up and quit a job because she suddenly found a boyfriend that is making her very happy, and she has no time for a job anymore, so she's gone. I've got to find a new waitress or a new hostess. So this is something that was quite annoying, quite challenging, and became the basis of me thinking that at some point in time I would launch a platform such as this.
So, you've mentioned part jobs, and I know what it is, and you know what it is, but for the viewers who are watching, they may have heard of it and have a idea of what it is, but can you go further in depth in what part jobs actually and truly is all about?
Certainly, and feel free to jump in with any questions at any point, because I can probably go on for a while if you don't stop me. Pop-up Jobs is an employment and recruitment platform enabling job seekers in particular the opportunity to register free of charge. This is very important. And also, they can post the type of jobs they're looking for so that they become searchable to employers looking for people with their expertise or qualifications or experiences. Similarly, they can also search the platform for any vacancies that are published by employers. Employers, conversely, can also register free of charge and post what type of jobs they have on offer and be able to connect directly with job seekers, and job seekers can connect directly with employers. We do not get into the middle as an agency. We're not an agency. We are a web development company, an IT development company, and we own the platform for people to connect directly with each other. Now, what is also interesting is that if uh, you can also configure your profile or your system whereby when a job is published or when it pops up, that's a better expression,
Mhm.
it will send you an alert to let you know it's time to have a look because something just came on the system. So it
Mhm.
has an alert feature in there, and we'll go into that, a little in more detail when but
Okay.
but that is in a nutshell what it is. It's an
Mhm.
employment and recruitment platform which is free of charge, and it is also addressing a major problem that most countries around the world are having right now. Prior to COVID, there was a recession, and that recession resulted in a massive disruption in employment. Many people lost jobs, many people's
True.
hours were cut, and since COVID, it has gotten worse. More people, I think in Barbados, the last I heard in terms of percentages, the unemployment rate or percentage, I think is at 10 to 12%, which
Mhm.
is a record for Barbados. And and so pop-up jobs is a an invaluable solution to a real problem that people are having and countries on the whole are having in terms of the unemployment issue.
I see. Very interesting. Now, there are hundreds, even thousands of other recruitment platforms. What exactly sets pop-up jobs apart from all the others?
That is so true. There are probably millions, not hundreds of thousands. There are probably millions of Facebook groups
Mhm.
for jobs. Jobs Barbados, Jobs St. Lucia, Jobs Antigua, Jobs Miami. And in each country or city, there could be as many as three, four, 500 different groups
Mhm.
for a particular city. So the competition is massive out there. So it's a very good question that you ask me. Why do we need to start another one? As a matter of fact, that was probably the reason I did not start pop-up jobs before because I considered, you know what, who needs pop-up jobs? They can go publish on Facebook. But as I talk to people, many people are on Facebook, but many people are still struggling to find a job.
True.
So Facebook is not necessarily uh, providing a solution for everyone who's listed on Facebook. So there's always a need for other platforms that are perhaps more attractive or with, that have more features or has got a unique selling point. And this is what made me decide that I need something that sets pop-up jobs apart from other
Mhm.
platforms doing the same thing. And this is how I arrived at the idea of doing a, a, a live stream podcast
Mhm.
to interview job seekers and employers about the jobs they're looking for or the jobs they're offering and to offer greater exposure and visibility to the job seekers' profiles and increase their chances of finding a job. Because having a video that brings your job seeker profile alive is a lot more exciting to an employer than looking at words printed on a CV.
Mhm.
And I, I said to myself that I wouldn't say this, but I think I'm going to.
Go for
A
it.
CV, in my opinion, is something that people tailor or fabricate according to the job or jobs they're going after or the market. And understandably so, of course. I mean, we all have to embellish,
That's I'm guilty of
whether
that
it's
myself.
truthful or not. But when an employer sees a 10-minute interview with a job seeker, and you are the host of this interview, your true personality comes out. And you're going to be asking the same questions that they would ask as employers during that 10-minute interview. So the whole idea is that we will bolster your job seeker profile and give you greater visibility and exposure.
On that point, now that you've mentioned the interviews on the Late Show, if someone wants to join the show as a guest to be interviewed, what steps would they have to take to apply?
We are extending an invitation to every job seeker in the world. We talked about how much competition there is out there on Facebook and Instagram for promoting jobs and job offers and job seekers. that actually feeds right into our business development plan, because now we have a captive audience of hundreds of millions of people to invite to come onto a show. Any job seeker who understands what a 10-minute interview can do for them above and beyond a CV or just having a listing on a social media platform will no doubt want to be a guest on the show. And all they have to do is to go to the Pop-Up Jobs Live page on our website, and there are very simple instructions how to become a guest. And there is no cost to be a guest on our show for 10 to 15 minutes.
Great. So let's say there's someone, who hasn't had a job for a good couple months and is interested in coming on the Life podcast, but they're feeling a little bit shy about it. What advice would you give them?
I'm going to let them know what a wonderful host you are and how comfortable you make them feel, like I feel right now, and that they need not have that fear. Also, the importance of this 10-minute interview will resonate with that person. And of course, we can spend a little time explaining how easy it is. There's also the ability to just do an audio interview. They don't necessarily have to be on camera like we are now. It's much better to be on video because we want to show the prospective employer who that person is, what they look like, how they deliver their message, how they handle the narrative, how they talk about their experiences. So to come on to an interview without video defeats the purpose. And that should be quite obvious. So it is our job to make them comfortable. And I think that after they have seen a number of interviews, because we're going to be having eventually a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week talk show in different cultures, different languages. So when they see other people like them, and it's not just for people who are in management level or directorship level, it's also for entry level job seekers. But when they see other people like them having interviews and enjoying the interview and being able to, to use that interview as a tool to enhance their chances of finding a job, they will soon lose those nerves because of the importance and the value that it brings to their job seeker profile.
Definitely. Thank you. At this time, we'll be taking a short commercial break and hearing from our sponsors.
Pure oxygen is way more than just water. We infuse pristine water with over 1 billion tiny oxygen bubbles using our state-of-the-art process. The benefits of additional oxygen are huge, from strengthening your immune system to increasing energy levels, stamina, and sports performance. And that's not all. It also improves skin health, helps you sleep better, and reduces stress. Join the movement of people experiencing the benefits of Pure Oxygen. It's not hype, it's science.
All right, we are back. I'm receiving word that we actually have someone who is interested in coming on the show and asking you a few questions, Mr. Lewis. So at this time, we'll just let her in.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Lewis and Ms. Springer. I just have a couple questions. This seems like a interesting opportunity, so I would like to ask a few questions. How exactly will employers get to know me through your live podcast?
How will employers get to know about the live podcast?
How will they get to know me through your live podcast?
Okay, well, when you have an interview on Pop-Up Jobs Live, we are going to be promoting our interviews directly to companies all over the world. And we want it to become a trend where companies now tune into our podcast to find suitable individuals for opportunities that they have available. So it is our job to promote your interview, but it is also your job as a job seeker to do the same. Because if you are now, when you have a listing on a profile on Facebook, you have one on Instagram, and you have your CV or you're putting up information about yourself, you need to post your your interview as well, so that job seekers can see that interview on all of the social media platforms, not only on Pop-Up Jobs Live. So it is our job to ensure that companies are aware of these interviews, and it's also your job to do your part to promote to companies. I wanted to get to a stage where when someone is applying for a job and they submit the interview, I want you to submit your and they're submitting their CV. I want them to submit their interview at the same time. Imagine how amazing it will be for an employer to, well, give them a choice, look at the CV or the video. They're going straight to the video. And this is the real deal here. So I want it to become something that's trending. Everybody's now wanting that video profile, and we're going to promote that to every company in the world eventually.
Okay, all right. Um, how will they be able to, after having done the interview, how would they be able to reach out to me or I to them after they show their interest?
Before you can come on to Pop-Up Jobs Live as a guest, you need to register on the Pop-Up Jobs platform, and that has all of your contact details. So companies can go on to the website and contact you directly there, and also they could also send us a message, or like you just came into the studio, if you were having an interview right now and a company is interested in your job seeker profile, and they're very fascinated with the narrative and the way you handle yourself, and they decide, I want Liana to work for this company, they can call into the show at the same time and speak to you and speak to the host and say, I would like to have a chat, with Liana, and they'll contact Diara or contact the producer, and we will arrange for them to come into the show. So there are a number of ways that they can get into contact with you. But the first one is that you will have a profile on our website, and they can go there, register, and contact you directly.
Okay. So, in order to be at my best in this interview, is there anything that I need to prepare in order to conduct it?
Well, the host is going to be asking a number of standard questions during an interview session. The same questions an employer would ask you. Tell us something about are you working at present? What do you do? What have you done before? Tell us about your educational background. Where did you grow up in Barbados or Miami? What was university like? What was high school like? So you want to engage them. You want to bring out the human interest element of that interview process, and bring out the personality. And we will provide you with a list of those standard questions. But when you start to speak about yourself, the host will obviously come up with other questions that are not part of the standard because of the conversation that ensues. So you will have standard questions, but expect some surprising questions as a result of the conversation. And it's for you to be able to, you can also ask questions of the host about Pop-Up Jobs Live as well during your interview process, because it's a conversation. It's not a one-way thing. They're asking you a question and you answer, and that's no, engage. That's what it's all about. Because we're selling, you have to sell yourself to potential employers out there who are tuned in and watching your interview. That's your time to shine.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you very much for coming in. It's a pleasure, and I want more people to come into the show and be as brave as you have been to pose questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on, Liana. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Brian.
So, Mr. Lewis, you have taught in great detail about a couple of the benefits that the Papa Jobs platform has and its uniqueness. It almost seems too good to be true. Is the Papa Jobs platform a scam?
Okay, fantastic question. Because there are so many scams on the market today. And every year, I think scammers go to some university somewhere in the world to become better and better every year at scamming. But we too, as consumers, we've become a lot more intelligent about scams. So we can actually decipher within a few minutes that something is a scam. Okay. There is no cost to be a subscriber to the pop-up jobs platform. There's no cost to post what type of jobs you're looking for. There's no cost to employers to subscribe, and no cost to employers to post job vacancies. So already you can start to realize there's no scam here because there's no basis for scam. A scam is where they're trying to get money out of you. We're not. We will generate our revenue from advertising, sponsorship, and other products that we will develop. And for example, if someone wants to extrapolate that 10-minute interview to use as a tool going forward, along with their CV when they're promoting their job seeker profile, there's a cost for that. But then we have to actually do work, or IT, our production team, they've got to do work to extrapolate it. So there's a cost, and that costs maybe 10 to 25 US dollars. We haven't fixed that price yet. But when you also people go to our site and they see that other people like them have subscribed, they now have the benefit of a live podcast. They have the benefit of hearing the person who started it talk about it. And there's a lot more basis for them to decide it is not a scam. But it's a very good question, and many people out there will think of that. Anytime someone sends me what could be considered junk mail, I first think it's a scam as well. But I've trained myself not to just assume that, because you might be cheating yourself out of a good opportunity by not investigating a little further. So I normally give a little bit of investigation into whatever is being proposed to make that determination. And I think that we've done a phenomenal job of presenting what we are offering. And they also have the opportunity to come and speak to us live, you, the host, or me, the producer / founder, and sort of dispel any fears or concerns about this being a scam.
Okay. At the beginning of the show, you spoke a little about your background. Do you have any previous experience in the network industry specifically? And what experiences have you had qualifies you to set out on an endeavor such as the Pop-Up Jobs platform?
I will forever feel that I'm not qualified enough to do this. This is such a huge undertaking. This is such an ambitious project because it has the potential to become one of the largest platforms for job seekers and employers, because it's global. It's not just Barbados. It's not just the Caribbean. Okay. So it has that potential. And I have been involved in IT development for many years. At one point, I had a team of developers in Eastern Europe who worked full-time developing apps and developing software solutions for companies around the world. And that was for about 7 or 8 years. So I have a lot of knowledge of the dynamics and mechanics of today's technology and what it can do. And I'm very fascinated by the technology. In terms of this particular application, it's all around us. On Facebook, there's so much of this going on. I think most job seekers are themselves experts at employment platforms because they use so many of them. And, so I'm not reinventing the wheel in any instance here. All I'm doing is creating a unique selling point to make a platform of which there are millions more attractive and more and do more for the job seeker in terms of giving them a presence on video to showcase who they are and what they're capable of doing in any scenario. But do I feel qualified? I have never even given myself, I have not spent a moment wondering whether I am, because if I did, I'll probably come up with the answer, I'm not qualified to do this. I had the funds available to do development work, and I said, and also it has a good feel factor. It has a good corporate citizen factor because you are addressing a major problem, which is unemployment. So this is one of the things that once it has become as successful as I would like it to be, and I'm sure it will. This is one of the things that I would look back on and I would like to be part of my legacy. Charles Lewis did that. And with the help of people like yourself and Leanna, who just came on to ask questions. Of course, she's a job seeker herself. Everyone has got to come together to make it successful. It's not on me alone to make this successful. It is all of my hosts. Eventually, I'll have about 500 or 1,000 hosts all over the world, because this will become a 24/7 podcast, because there are literally millions of job seekers who would want to be interviewed. And how do we do this? You certainly can't do this by yourself, that's for sure. So it is going to be, the onus is going to be on all of us to make it happen, not just me. So I'm not fully qualified, but with everyone coming together as part of the team, we will be, as a team, qualified to make this happen.
Teamwork definitely makes the dream work. Yes.
Correct.
So how long has the platform been in operation?
Let's talk about when I first thought about it, which was about 3 to 4 years ago. Of course, I realized I had that problem with staffing for years, but I only thought about doing this about 3 years ago. And I decided about 2 months ago, it was time to get it started. 2 months ago. And we're still in the launch phase of this whole thing. As a matter of fact, this is the first official podcast for Pop-Up Jobs Live. We did have a previous podcast, but since then we changed the format a bit, and we're now ready to roll it out globally. But 3 months ago, I started to work on it. I started doing the web development about 2 months ago, and we're still in the launch phase right now. But we're ready to take listings. We're ready for employers to post job vacancies. We're ready for them to connect with each other, and we're ready for job seekers every day going forward to come on and be interviewed by yourself and other hosts. While I'm speaking about this, I would like to extend an invitation to anyone tuning in to this podcast to consider becoming a host for Pop-Up Jobs Live. We need many young, talented people. This is not to say if you're over a certain age, you can't host. Okay, we're looking for people who've got a bit of personality, excellent communication skills, people who have the ability to make others feel comfortable, because that's very important. People are going to be nervous coming onto the show, okay? And if not for you being so professional, I would be a wreck right now. Yeah. So I want to invite people out there to come and not first sign up on the site as an employer or a job seeker, or just as a supporter, and consider becoming a host, because this is what we need, and become part of our team.
Okay. I'm seeing a question here in the chat. It is from Mackenzie Bovell. I hope I got that right. And she's asking, what are your plans for future podcasts?
My plans for future podcasts. Well, I do not think we need to divert from what it is now. It's a podcast. It's not for entertainment value like most podcasts are for. We don't have to be funny. We don't have to be entertaining. I mean, yes, we have to be a little bit entertaining, because people host, you must have a little bit of, you must be a little bit of a comedian to make people laugh, and have during the conversation at some point. But it has a very specific purpose: to interview job seekers and promote that job seekers to as many employers as possible, to promote employers and promote those job vacancies to as many job seekers as possible. It's a very straightforward strategy. We don't need to make any changes, and this will be our strategy or production value going forward. Every day, 24 hours a day, interviews, because it's an employment and recruitment strategy. So we don't have to have many dimensions to this. Perhaps what we could probably do from time to time is, if there's a job fair somewhere in the world, I may fly 1 or 2 hosts into that city and do a live broadcast from a job fair, but it's still along the same lines. It's about promoting pop-up jobs. So there will be some dimension to it, but we will not vary too far away from our focus, which is to help people find jobs and help companies find job seekers.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Mackenzie. I'm seeing another question, and the person is asking, where would I apply to be a host?
Firstly, I would like you to subscribe free of charge to support the platform, and then contact myself. I have a profile on there. You can even contact the host, today's host, and we will guide you to a page that offers information on how you can become a host. And there's an online application form. There's no cost to be a host. There's no hard and fast preset requirement. I'm looking for people who have the ability to embrace this concept. I want people who get it. I want people who believe in it, and they want to be part of this cutting edge, next level marketing when it comes to recruitment and employment. And the rest we will teach you. We will train you.
What are some of the benefits that can be derived from becoming a host?
As a host, you're going to be okay. Let's talk about how the company generates revenue from the podcast Firstly, there's no cost to be a guest, so we don't make money there. And also, we need many guests to create content. Without content, we do not have a basis for viewership. Viewership will drive advertising. So we will invite companies to promote their related products and services. So companies that selling school books, for example, companies that do transportation services for companies that sell drinks, and so any company that is directly or indirectly connected to who we are and our subscribers, we're inviting them to become sponsors of the show. That sponsorship is the first revenue stream. We share the revenue from advertising with the host. The host will make 70% of the money generated from sponsorship for the episodes that they are hosting. The reason why they get 70% is because they're doing most of the work. They have to do promotion on social media to invite people to become guests. They've got to speak to the guests and prepare them for the interview. They've got to receive the person's interview by email or WhatsApp, study the CV so that they can formulate the right questions. So they get 70% of it. Now, one episode can have as many as 6 to 8 advertisers. So the revenue generating potential is exponential for it. And I was discussing yesterday with someone that you may do an episode now and there's no advertising on it. Mm-hmm. After the live episode, it then goes into the archives and people can view the episode you did yesterday, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. 4 weeks from the time you did the live interview or interviews, you may end up with 10,000 views because people are tuning in and sharing it with other people. Advertisers can come back after the live and say, look, I see this particular episode is getting a lot of traffic, a lot of viewership. I want to put an ad on that. We can take it down, put an ad on it, and put it back up. So you may not make money from day 1, day 2, or week 2, or week 3, but you might make money from a particular episode down the line.
Thank you for clearing that up. At this time, we'll go to another commercial break and hear from our sponsors once again.
Pure oxygen is way more than just water. We infuse pristine water with over 1 billion tiny oxygen bubbles using our state-of-the-art process. The benefits of additional oxygen are huge, from strengthening your immune system to increasing energy levels, stamina, and sports performance. And that's not all. It also improves skin health, helps you sleep better, and reduces stress. Join the movement of people experiencing the benefits of Pure Oxygen. It's not hype, it's science.
Okay, and we're back. For anyone who might be joining in late, My name is Diara Springer, and welcome to Pop-Up Jobs Live. I am currently interviewing the founder of the Pop-Up Jobs platform, Mr. Charles Lewis. Okay, so with the platform being basically very new, has there been any success stories, either for employers or for those seeking employment since they have joined the site?
We started accepting subscriptions a month and a half ago, and we presently have there are over 2,000 listings in the system. It is, I do not know if we have had any success stories because no one has come back to us, but the site is open for employers to contact job seekers and vice versa. And unless they come back and tell us, and I'm glad you mentioned this because I'm going to urge people to come back and tell us when they get a job from Pop-Up Jobs Live so that we can publish success stories. So that is a very interesting point. But do I know if you have any success stories? I do not, because no one has come back and told me, but it is very possible that it has happened. And the system is functioning already where people can connect and start working together. But I cannot say that at the moment, but I'm certainly going to put that in the sign-up process that they will promise to come back and tell us when you get a job so we can come back and talk about it on another interview.
Okay. We've talked about the benefits that the site can have for job seekers. So let's talk about the employers and the companies aspect of it. Tell us about some of the advantages that an employer can gain from joining the site.
There are a number of benefits for the employer. They will have direct access to eventually hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of job seekers. And they have the ability to promote their vacancy on a platform which has competitive advantage over other platforms because of our podcasts. And so we're going to give obviously they're not going to stop using other platforms, social media platforms, but they will use ours in addition to. So we're giving them additional exposure. We're giving them additional visibility. And we are increasing the probability or possibility of finding that right person who is the right fit for their company. Also, too, there's another not so obvious benefit. As a company, you're actually promoting yourself as a company selling whatever product. So a person today could be a job seeker, but tomorrow they might contact the company and buy a pair of shoes. So you get the opportunity to promote your company and its products and services or activities to a global captive audience of people who are firstly job seekers, but secondly, they're general consumers. So you get to promote your products and services. When you come on to the Pop-Up Jobs Live, we will encourage them to say a little bit about their company. That is exposure. That is free publicity that they're getting. So there are lots of perks in there. And as we go forward, I'm going to be continuously thinking of ways to improve the platform to provide more benefits to my subscribers. Okay, let us say our subscribers, because you're part of the team.
Okay. So how can a company then or an employer post their job listings on the site?
They have to register free of charge. That takes less than a minute. And when there's there's a problem that people get, and I get not a complaint, but they make a comment on, when you are sent the confirmation email, sometimes it goes to your junk folder. So you don't get it into your inbox. And I get many, I'm waiting for my confirmation email or whatever. And it's just go to your junk folder because it can go there and you can receive it, from there. Also, once they submit their profile, they can then go onto the system and place information about their job vacancy. They can also add images, pictures, videos as well. Okay, so, and that's free of charge.
Okay. So What if it is a case where they, the company, might be too busy to post the job listing themselves? Does the site provide an avenue where it can be posted on their behalf?
Yes, I that is yet to be published, but I want to offer them the ability, those who are busy or lazy, we'll charge them a fee to post it for them. And it probably would be about, I don't know, 10, 20 US dollars per post that we do for them. They can do it themselves quite easily within a few minutes, or we can do it for them, but we will charge them for that.
Okay, all right. We're coming on to the home stretch now. I'm wrapping up. Okay, being a member of the site myself, I know that the subscription is free, and you've mentioned that several times during today's episode. Now, it is a very common trend for sites where they do this thing where the subscription for the first month or so is free, and then when the month is up, users have to pay a fee. Is that the case with public jobs, or will the subscription always remain free?
It will always be free. It, in terms of the employment legislation in many countries, it is illegal to charge a job seeker to help them find a job. Okay? And it is not a common practice to charge a job seeker anyway on social media. So it will always be free. And having it as a free subscription, then there are no barriers to building a massive database. It has to be free. It will not work unless it's free. Apart from the legislation that prohibits it in some countries, or in most countries, it will always be free because it is part of our business development strategy, and that is a sustainable strategy. Now, businesses will also be free because we need, without their job vacancies, there's no reason for job seekers to register. So we need those two entities to be free subscribers at all times. We will find creative ways of generating revenue in addition to advertising, sponsorship, and all the other services that we just talked about. But we will continuously, because as a business we have to make money. If we don't make money, we can't sustain the platform that is purporting to do so much for you. Okay, so at some point we will be looking at more creative ways, but in terms of subscription, it will always be free.
Okay. What provisions have you put in place to ensure that the site is easy to navigate for anybody, regardless of their age, etc.?
Wow, if we start to get complaints from people that it is difficult to navigate, we will find a solution to make it easier. We have not yet had that challenge. We found it pretty straightforward. We're going to. I'm already thinking of an app version of the website. But having said that, the website is mobile phone enabled or friendly, for a better expression. So it's easy to navigate with your mobile phone. So it fits nicely into the frame or the window or the screen of your mobile phone until such time as we turn it into an app. It is better for us to continue to develop the website until it gets to a certain stage where we know most of the features we want to have, and then we go to develop the app. So at this stage, I'm not sure of all the features and all the functionality that the site will have. So I'm not even going to start the app development yet. I'll wait until we get to, further down the line, and then we'll look at doing an app.
Okay, I'm seeing another question from Mackenzie. Will creative businesses be able to advertise their merch while sharing a percentage of their revenue, of course?
Yes, there will be an advertising rate card that companies will abide by when they want to post a 30-second video commercial or a static ad, or even if they want to come onto the show themselves for a minute or two and promote their product in person. That's also allowed. Yes, I will consider a scenario where I partner with a company where we promote their product and do a revenue share. Absolutely. It's down to negotiation. And in some case, in most cases, probably in all cases, we'll make more money doing a revenue share than charging them $75 for an ad. So or $300-400 a year. So if I find that they have a product that's directly related to what we're doing, and I see the viability and the potential to generate money, because I'm a businessman, obviously. If the proposal makes sense, I'm ready to talk.
Okay. My final question for you, Mr. Lewis. A year from now, where do you envision pop-up jobs will be compared to where it is right now?
Very good question. I want to be, first of all, lying on the beach in Barbados, watching the show, while one eye on the show and one eye on the waves and then the ocean, and relaxing. And I want to see a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week channel. I want to see job seekers from all over the world speaking different languages. I want to see 500 or 1,000 individuals who are hosts, and it's running like clockwork. I want to see 5,000-10,000 people a month getting jobs from this platform. Nothing would make me more happy than to see this type of success, because this is the purpose that it was developed to achieve. Okay, I certainly want to see hosts like you generating substantial income from this, where you've got a long line of people waiting to be advertisers on your show, on your episodes. Okay, and everyone is making money and they're happy with what they're making, because at the end of the day, we all have to earn. We're doing this to make money. Okay, not just to help people find jobs. You're doing a job yourself right now. I would like to see that the whole concept becomes financially viable from those products and services that we're going to offer beyond subscription. I would like to be receiving a thank you from the Minister of Labor from every country saying, your platform is doing a hell of a job keeping the unemployment rate down in our country or in our city or our state or whatever. This is the sort of legacy I would like to enjoy.
Fantastic. That brings us to the end of the show. Mr. Lewis, once again, thank you for joining us. You've been an incredible guest, and I think you really went into great detail in explaining what the Pop-Up Jobs platform is all about. To all the viewers, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. If you join us late, that is no problem. That's okay. A recording of today's episode will be up on our Facebook and YouTube accounts at Pop-Up Jobs Network for you to watch at any time. To business owners, if you would like to promote your products and services to our viewers, we invite you to become a sponsor. And for more information about becoming a sponsor, contact us on popupjobsnetwork@gmail.com. A new episode of the podcast will be aired every single week, so you can get any updates about that on our YouTube or Facebook pages, as I mentioned earlier, and we are also on Instagram. Thank you for our sponsors, our caller Liana, Mackenzie, and Deshardu for answering their questions in the chat. And with that, we'll see you next week for another episode of Pop-Up Jobs Live. Thank you, and continue to enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
Pure oxygen is way more than just water. We infuse pristine water with over 1 billion tiny oxygen bubbles using our state-of-the-art process. The benefits of additional oxygen are huge, from strengthening your immune system to increasing energy levels, stamina, and sports performance. And that's not all. It also improves skin health, helps you sleep better, and reduces stress. Join the movement of people experiencing the benefits of pure oxygen. It's not hype, it's science.